This is RPR Commercial. We're going to go through a lot of amazing features that are built into RPR, including everything that is absolutely for free. So anything that we discussed today, I want to make sure I repeat. Uh, Everything that I discussed today is going to be included as a member benefit, specifically in the RPR system. That's going to include the Evaluate system, which is included with RPR. The Evaluate system is going to allow you to calculate the return on investment on a flip. So if you ever have an investor, right, they want to buy a property that is maybe needing some tender loving care, maybe some renovation, redevelopment of that unit, it's going to allow you to figure out that return on investment, including the costs to repair. That calculation on the return on investment is going to include if that investor decides to purchase using cash or using a loan as well. Another thing that the Valuate system can do is also calculate a return on investment during a long-term hold, I should say. What that's going to do is, for example, if we have a buyer that wants to purchase maybe 11 multifamily units, they want to calculate a cap rate during that hold over maybe 10 years. We can figure out how much we're going to get back using cash or using a levered, meaning using a loan in order to purchase the property. All right. So when it comes to commercial, you guys still have the ability, even if you're not a commercial member, you still have the ability to jump into RPR, look for commercial listings, right? You still have the ability to look for commercial listings in Matrix as well. The biggest reason why you may want to consider, as I mentioned in the first class, adding commercial as a membership, it is $105 a year. So that's going to be a la carte outside of your current membership. One of the biggest takeaways amongst many different options, the biggest takeaway for commercial members is the system commercial member to member. Just going to jump over here real quick. As I mentioned in the very first class, if you ever have, for example, you have an investor, right? They have a very specific, height requirements, maybe for a warehouse space, and you're trying to find that. You're using any of the products that we offer to find maybe a warehouse for sale. In Matrix, you go into RPR, you're not finding it. You can jump into the member-to-member commercial platform and then let our commercial members know that you have a want or a need specifically for a customer. And if there's maybe an off-market opportunity that maybe it's not listed in the MLS, individual agents in the commercial member-to-member platform will get back to you. Also, if you have a listing, I want to make sure I mention if you do have a commercial listing, you also have the ability to create a beautiful broadcast post letting all commercial members know that you have a property available for sale or for lease using the commercial member-to-member platform. Perfect, perfect. And again, we're going to go into RPR. So this is the brand new dashboard, guys. Very easy way to save yourself some time when you're in the dashboard is to use this little search bar. Don't get lost in the mirage of buttons. We have a lot of amazing services. So come right over here where you see the search bar. And then right here where you see name, simply just put in the name of the service that you want to access. We're going to go into RPR. So I'm going to type out RPR. I'm going to click on apply. And then it just shows me that service so that we can get started. All right. Now, I did say this in the very first class for residential. I want to repeat it. When it comes to any platform that we offer, when it comes to commercial listings, the system that has the most amount of listings when it comes to commercial is going to be the RPR platform. I am going to go ahead and put this in the chat so you guys have access to it. All right. Anywhere where I go, I'm going to make sure to include links, so do not worry about that part. All right, but there's a lot of different service providers that either provide a product, such as Valuate in the commercial RPR platform, or they're providing listings. We do have access to totalcommercial.com, by proxy, Comstat, Land Broker Co-op, demographical information directly from Esri, as well as data directly from ICE. We do get listings directly from Brevitas. I wish I could pause this menu. It's moving a little quick there, so I'm going to try to Go back. Okay, Brevitas, we get listings directly from Brevitas. And we do get a fantastic option for free because you're a member. We have access to Moody's Analytics. What do I mean by that? We can find the next area where an investor can purchase and then maybe build a warehouse, maybe find a warehouse that's available for sale. We can find different segmentations based on how much folks spend from a consumer's perspective. What do I mean by that? If you ever get a call from an investor, they say, "Hey, I want to open up a daycare facility," or they say, "Hey, I want to open up a restaurant." Right? We can find the areas. We're going to do this today using the commercial site selection. We're going to find the areas where folks spend the most amount of money on different types of things. All right. We also have access to Crexy. We have that valuation report provided by Valuate on a flip or for a long-term hold analysis. Listings also from officespace.com. Lots of great information, guys. Make sure to come here. Points of interest, which is what POI means, and a full breakdown of the trade area report that you can create using this platform. So we're going to jump into also the trade area report. What I like about that trade area report, not just for commercial members, but also for my residential members, is it shows us different groups within a city. Just for example, Doral. It's the first city that came to my mind. It's going to show me different types of home ownership, the type of homes that certain age groups like to buy, or do we have certain age groups within a city that like to rent? I can find those specific segments that like single family homes, their average age, their average income as well. Again, not just good for commercial. That trade area report's also great for residential. And also within that trade area report for my warehouse agents, or even agents that like to sell or buy restaurants. We also get a traffic report within that trade area report, letting us find the areas that have the highest amount of traffic, which is good. As I mentioned, for a restaurant owner, we want to find the areas that have the highest amount of traffic. And on the opposite side of that, when it comes to a warehouse buyer, they want to find an area that relatively has a lower amount of traffic so that semis can offload cargo in those facilities. All right. Okay. So without further ado, guys, I want to provide as much resources as I can before we get started. We're going to go ahead and jump directly into the RPR system. If you've not registered your RPR account, your RPR is going to look like this right here. All right, in order to register, homework for later, go right here where you see create a new account, and then you have the ability to look yourself up by last name. An easier way to find yourself instead is by locating yourself using an email address or by using your NAR member ID. Now, if you do not have your NAR member ID, it's going to be located here in your dashboard. You would just simply go right here in the top right corner. If you don't have your photo displayed, you should see your initials. Like, for example, mine's SH. It should say SH here. Give that little icon a click. All right, from there, click on My Account. And if you don't have access to your NRDS ID, it will be located here under the My Settings, under the Roster Details. Just scroll down, and then you're going to see a custom identifier, which is your NRDS. And then you're going to have your unique NRDS ID located right here. Now, you're going to need that to register an RPR account and, of course, registering an account with the NAR's website. If you go to nar.realtor, it's going to also ask you for your NRDS ID in order to register as well. All right, perfect. Now, we're going to go ahead and jump right back into the system. All right, I'm going to go ahead and sign in. And as soon as you sign into the RPR system, it's going to take you into a place that looks familiar for my Matrix users. It's going to take you directly into your dashboard, and you have the ability to hyper focus on the markets that you service. So this is a visual reference first. In just a moment, I'm going to show you where you can add the individual areas that you service, such as where you live, the service areas where you may have sellers or buyers, or you can also add service areas based on where your For example, where we have the top areas where we have office spaces, warehouse spaces as well. And then we can track and see if there's any price changes based on our markets, anything that just recently hit the MLS, the amount of inventory for sale properties and for lease. Okay, so we're going to break this down. We're going to dissect this in greater detail in a moment. What I'm here to show you real quick is I need to make sure that we see a visual reference on this little blue circle with the new tag that you see right here. We have the ability, as we're searching in the RPR system for listings on the map or within our results grid, we have the ability to tell the system exactly what we consider to be a brand new listing that just hit the MLS. All right. So we're going to cover that in just a moment. Let me move this over real quick. All right. I'm going to come over here to the top right corner. As I mentioned, for my commercial agents, you can create a trade area report using this system. Should you create a report in RPR, you first want to make sure that you add your information as well as your photo. So we're going to click on this little square here. I'm going to click on profile. All right. And then I'm going to show you, this is where we add under profile your agent photo located here on the left, as well as your logo or your brokerage's logo should autofill. Most brokerages, we automatically have the image of the office located here, but if you do want to change it to maybe your own personalized agent branding, you can add your own logo by clicking on change or upload logo right here. So again, the information we add in this section is going to be our information that appears once we start creating reports in RPR. All right. Another thing I want to make sure I mention, we do have agents that do switch from one brokerage to another brokerage. And sometimes when you do that, you get a new email address. So if you do change your email address, if our membership department changes it for you, it changes it in the MLS, but it does not update your email address in the RPR system. You're going to need to sign in with the previous email that you originally assigned to the account, and then you can change it right here, including your password within this location. So if you do want to change your password, you would enter the current password, and then you would enter a new password. It does need to be 7 characters, 1 lowercase, 1 uppercase, and then either a number or special character such as an exclamation mark or an ampersand as well. Just click on save, and then that's going to save your changes in the system. Over here on the left, we can enter our contact information, including our title. So for example, if you're a sales associate, you can put that under title. Maybe you just work within maybe the condo market, maybe the warehouse market. Maybe you only sell, as well as restaurants, etc. You can put expert in sales in any category that you specialize in. All right, further down, if you are missing anything under office, including the address, city and state and zip code, you can add that information here, your brokerage's information here. And under phone, under this section, we can add multiple phone numbers. If you click on add more criteria, again, this is what shows up in reports. You have the ability to include a work number, home phone number, office, as well as mobile, assistant, pager. I'm not sure if someone's going to get back to you. I'm kidding. We also have pager as well as other under this section, phone. All right, perfect. Now, if you do have an assistant, you can also include the assistant's number. Again, you just click on add more if you want to have multiple means to contact you located here under phone. Fax as well. You can include a work fax, home fax, or other fax as well. I did mention this in the first class earlier today. When it comes to faxes, if you do not have the means of sending or receiving faxes, faxing, I'm being very specific with my wording. Sending faxes and receiving faxes are absolutely included as a member benefit in the Form Simplicity platform. So again, faxing to send and to receive is included using the Form Simplicity system. All right, further down, You also have the ability in your reports to include a email or multiple emails by clicking on Add More. You can include your main email, other to, or an assistance email located here. All right, further down, you can also include your website, such as your office's website, broker website, your individual agent website, and maybe you have a different type of website altogether. You can click on Other. Just make sure to click on Add More so that you can add multiple emails within your reports. All right, further down, there's not too much to discuss here under the section MLS or CIE info. By default, once you register your account, it's going to ask you if you're a Miami member. It's going to ask you for your ID. The only reason why you would come here is in the event that you have membership with other associations outside of South Florida. I want to be very specific again with my wording. If you're a member of, for example, the Orlando Association of Realtors, or maybe you're a member of the Los Angeles Association of Realtors, right? If you still have current membership, keyword there is current membership, you can add any of the states where you have membership. You would enter your the name of the association located right here and your ID. What that's going to do is unlock looking for listings in those areas that you service and historical data. All right, perfect. All right, now make sure that you go down here where you see license number. This is where you can add your license information. You would select a state such as Florida. You would enter your license type. For example, we do have in here real estate as well, where you would enter your real estate license number. This is going to be specifically for a BK license or a sales license. BK means broker, broker license, or a sales license. If you do have an appraiser membership, there's also the ability to include your appraisal license number, mortgage as well for NMLS. And if you want to include maybe another type of licensing that you have, you can also click on Other as well. All right. Further down under the section Assistant Users, you do have the ability to have up to 3 assistants have access to your account. If you do want to have assistants have access to your account, you would just go right here, click on Create New Assistant User. This is going to give them their own unique ID to sign in. All right. From there, you would enter the email address of the assistant, meaning where the login information needs to go. You're going to include their first, last name, their contact information, your agent as the realtor or broker, and then you would go right here and click on I understand and accept that by creating an assistant, they will have full access to managing the information in my account. If you are thinking about having an assistant, you want to make sure that you know about what they can and cannot do. There's going to be some job functions that an assistant cannot do, replacing a real estate agent. So we're going to come here under membership applications. I'm going to put this in the chat real quick. All right. Under page 2, we have the permissible activities, meaning what is allowed directly by an unlicensed assistant, so that you guys have access to that as well. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to keep going, guys. All right. So once you add your information, your telephone number, your email address, your license information, once you're done, make sure to come here where you see news and subscription and privacy policy. Go ahead and turn those on and then click on Save. All right, perfect. And I want to make sure I mention that this class is recorded. I went back into the main dashboard because, again, I want to make sure I give you guys a visual reference on these little blue indicators with the new tag. All right. We have the ability when we use the RPR system, be that for a residential or commercial search, I can tell the system what I mean. I want to be very clear what I mean by what I consider to be a new listing. Okay, so I'm going to go over here in the top right corner. All right, we're going to go directly into the settings section. Now, these little tags show up when you're looking at properties from the map or when you're looking at properties within your results grid. Okay, so residential, when you want to look for new listings, you can tell the system, hey, I want to see this little blue tag with this little orange mark if the listing has been added within the past 30 days, past 14 days, past 7 days, 3 days all the way down to 1 day. So a good rule of thumb of how to use these little filters here is it comes down to how often you use the RPR platform. So if you're in the, for example, if you're in the RPR system, let's say 2 to 3 times a month, change it to 14 days. If you're in here every day, you have customers trying to buy properties in all of the areas that you service, and you're constantly doing a check, you can switch it from 7 days, as I mentioned, all the way down to 1 day. Okay, so we're going to leave it at 14 for residential. So again, anything listed within the past 14 days will have this little blue circle with the little new orange icon. Further down, we also get to tell the system what we consider to be a recently closed sale. So if I leave it at 90 days, which is what I would recommend when it comes to residential properties, just based on the volatility of the market, I would leave it at 90 days. So as you do a search for closed properties, if you see this blue square, it means that it's sold within the past 90 days. All right. When it comes to commercial, guys, I wouldn't suggest to change these unless you're in here on a daily basis. Commercial inventory, it moves a lot slower. Listings are a lot slower, including commercial deals. Just the transactions as a whole take longer to close. I would leave these at 30 days for what I consider to be new listings and 180 days for what I consider to be a recently closed commercial property. All right. Over here on the right, this is where we add the markets that we service. As you can see right here, it's going to let us get as close as a neighborhood. I can also include cities, and I can include looking at all of the properties from a statewide perspective, and all as well as adding zip codes as well. All right, so I'm just going to add real quick 33149. All right, as soon as I type it out, it's going to give me multiple suggestions. It's going to say, hey, do you mean 3314 Minton Avenue in Los Angeles? It is a nationwide system. Or it will give you multiple zip codes based on zip codes that it is finding and some addresses. All right, so I'm going to switch this real quick. Let's do something a little more interesting. Let's do, for example, for my residential agents, I'm just going to type out Silver Lakes real quick. All right, and Silver Lakes is a community of single-family homes and townhomes, specifically in Pembroke Pines. This is what I meant by you have the ability to include communities or developments. So I have the ability to include just that neighborhood in the Pembroke Pines area for Silver Lakes as well. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put in Wynwood as well. And I have the ability to add Wynwood in Miami, Florida, or Wynwood Arts District in Miami, Florida. All right, what we're going to go ahead and do in the very least is we're going to include Fort Lauderdale. All right, we're going to type out Fort Lauderdale. I'm going to click on Fort Lauderdale. We're going to use that as we look at our markets, and I'm going to also include Doral as well within our markets. Okay, now once we set this up, once we have configured our settings and entered our markets that we service, in order for everything to stay locked in, I either need to click this save icon here in the bottom left or click the save at the top. And then once I click save, I'm good to go. I can go directly back into my home page, and I have now customized to the system what I consider to be a new listing. However, make sure for my commercial agents, the system by default, it does show residential. So if you do include your market areas for commercial, switch it directly to commercial. All right. And then over here, we have the ability under the search scroll bar, I can see all of the different areas that I've added into the system. All right. Another thing that I want to make sure I mention, if you ever have areas that you no longer service, what do I mean by no longer service? Maybe you don't have a buyer or seller. Maybe you're based out of Miami, right? You had someone in Palm Beach that wanted to buy a property. You're no longer representing them. You want to remove any of your market areas. You can click on either add or edit. They take you to the same location. And then if you ever want to remove an area that you've added historically, for example, I'm going to remove Homestead. If I hover my mouse over Homestead, it's going to add a little gray line around it. Just click on remove. It's going to remove that service area. just click on save. You can go back to homepage and homestead should be removed. Okay, so we're going to switch this real quick. We're going to switch it to the area that I mentioned, which is Fort Lauderdale. That's going to show me all of the Fort Lauderdale area. And it's going to let me know from the aggregate systems that are providing listings directly into RPR, what inventory that's still available. So I have right here 15 available commercial units available for sale. I do have one for lease as well. So whenever I click on the for lease option, when I see this little yellow icon, it does mean it is a lease that's available. I have zero price fluctuations within the Fort Lauderdale market for commercial properties. I do have one that did go under contract just north of Victoria Park. It is currently under contract. Looks like multifamily home. Yes, 7 units right here, listed at 2.1 million. They are under contract at this time, and we do have both owners showing up. If you do want to, for example, you want to see all of the information pertinent to the listing, you can click directly on View Full Details. That's going to put you right into the report. Okay, further down, this is what I meant by closed for sale. All right, we did tell the system to include the little blue icon if they did sale within the past 180 days. So if I click on it, we have it right here, did sale as of January the 2nd. It does look like a warehouse space there, B3. Okay, it's a business. All right, square footage, we do have that available at 1,488, the 2 owners, and it will tell me when it closed from there. Now, if you ever have, for example, you do decide to use RPR in order to find commercial properties for sale, under for sale or any of these menus, you have the ability to click on this little heart right above the photo. If you click on this little heart, it's going to add the property as one of your favorite properties. Now, anything that you create, be that a trade area report, you create a valuation report on a property, anything that you create, it's going to be housed here under the My Work section, including your listings, the markets that you service. It's going to take you right back here. Any of your saved properties. Maybe you forgot to save a property, but you know you searched for it and you pulled it up. You can find any of your recent properties, any of your property reports. Maybe you've added notes on maybe a warehouse or an office space. You can find any of the notes you've saved, your saved searches. We're going to do that in a moment, and my recent searches as well. Now, all of these little drop downs, we're going to cover these in just a moment. All of these drop downs have a video giving you a little bit more insight on what we mean by each category. Okay, perfect. Another thing to keep in mind when you start saving properties is as you save properties, they're going to be located also here under My Properties. You can access all of your saved properties, your recent searches, your reports, and your notes farther down here on the left. All right, perfect. Okay, guys. Now that's just a quick little rundown there of the My Market section. We're going to keep going. The next thing that I want to make sure I show to my commercial agents, one of my personal favorite things to discuss is that commercial site selection tool. What is the commercial site selection tool? The commercial site selection tool will allow me to find the areas where we spend the most or the least. I did emphasize in the beginning of the class where we can find the areas where we spend the most on different types of consumer segmentation, but I can also find the areas where we spend the least. I want to make sure I mention it does both. Okay, we're going to create a scenario in our heads. We're going to say that we got a call from an investor. What they want to do is they want to find the area. We're going to look in, we'll use the map. We're going to use the map for this. If I show you the harder way to do it, you're going to be able to do it the easier way, like the back of your hand. So we're going to go ahead and go into research. We're going to say that we have an investor that wants to find the areas where we spend the most on restaurants, specifically eating out. Okay. Now, we're also going to find the area where they have the highest disposable income. Why am I mentioning that as an extra data set? We have a lot of restaurants going out of business. For example, Red Lobster, TGI Fridays. The restaurant model as we know it is changing. We're starting to see a lot more pop-up locations when it comes to restaurants, smaller spaces. Essentially, and again, I say this respectfully, a lot of folks are not going out to eat. So we're going to calculate the areas where they spend the most eating out, and we're going to hyper focus on the areas that have the highest amount of disposable income because, and this is my opinion, if we find the areas that have the highest, potentially the highest disposable income, we can find the areas where we might be able to find a small restaurant, right? Maybe we can find a piece of land based on the use where we can build a restaurant. What we can do from there is provide that report directly to the investor so that they know those top locations. Now, under research, you have that commercial site selection tool located right here. I'm going to show you how you can deploy using the commercial site selection tool via the map. If I show you the map version, you'll be able to just type in what you want under the commercial site selection button. Okay, so we're going to go into map search real quick. I'm going to click on map search, guys. All right, and then we're going to zoom out. All right, perfect. And let's go ahead and let's move over to the Broward area. We're going to specifically look at let's do Pembroke Pines. We'll use the Pembroke Pines area. We're going to say we have an investor that wants to maybe open up a restaurant in this area. All right. Now, before I jump into how to conduct the commercial site selection search using the map, there's other geographic boundaries that you can add, including the county boundaries. Micro neighborhoods is going to show me those minor neighborhoods. And if it doesn't give me minor neighborhoods, instead, the micro neighborhoods is going to give me the names of developments or the names of buildings. So it can, again, there's not a uniform way of answering it because the RPR is a nationwide system. Play around with it. It's based on what they have available in that specific area. We can also look up census block groups, school districts, school areas based on 9th through 12th grade, 6th through 8th grade, and then K through 5. Real quick, I'm just going to click on opportunity zones, guys, real fast, if that's all right. What is an opportunity zone? Long story short, we have a class for this. I have a class called Working with Investors Opportunity Zones. But what these are the areas where the Florida governor wants to see improvements. And there is incentives directly from developers in order to redevelop properties in these areas. Now, there needs to be a great amount of redevelopment in order for their capital gains tax, once they do decide to sell the property, to go down from anywhere from 35% down to somewhere around 5 to 8% in these key areas. This has to do with the Jobs Act passed back in 2017. These are the areas that the Florida governor wants to see improvements, and these areas should see a growth when it comes to multifamily properties, not to mention single-family homes, and not to mention commercial opportunities in these areas, such as restaurants, right? Warehouses being built in these areas, multifamily units. I'm talking mid-rises added in these areas. Matter of fact, this area does not look like it did 10 years ago from Florida City all the way to Leisure City. It is a booming area that is growing. I'm just hoping that the street can keep up with the growth. But again, you can jump into these areas, and then you can, of course, run that site selection. Maybe you have an investor who wants to open up maybe a restaurant. Maybe they want to open up a gas station in these areas. You just simply click on those areas. You can search for listings. You can run that site selection as well as you can just save that area if you want to search later on. Or you can just simply create a trade area report as well. All right, so I just wanted to go over that opportunity zones filter real quick. We're going to switch it to none. All right, as I mentioned, we're going to go ahead and we're going to focus on the Pembroke Pines area. We're going to, in our minds, pretend that we have a investor that wants to open up a restaurant as far south as the Miramar area or the northern part of Pembroke Pines. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to use the draw tool. We're going to click on draw. We can use the freehand. We also have radius, polygon, and box. If you're brand new to drawing on maps, the easiest one to use is going to be freehand, and a second option would be polygon. For this one, we're going to use freehand. All right, and I'm going to just simply say this is the area that my investor is interested in. You don't have to draw, if you guys are following along, you do not have to draw exactly like I am. All right, let me go ahead and move over. It's going to say that this is the area right here. All right, perfect. So as soon as you let go, as I mentioned, anytime you add an overlay filter, you can search in that area for listings. You can also search for off-market properties. Maybe maybe you do a search for you try to find a restaurant that's for sale. Maybe you try to find a business that's for sale in these areas, but you don't find anything. You can also search off market and find land for a developer that may want to build a commercial property on top of it. So this does include the ability to search off market. All right, we're going to go ahead and click on the site selection tool. What that does is that takes me directly into the same exact commercial site selection tool that we find under research. The difference is it supplies the area that I want to look up because I filtered it on my map. All right, so we're going to go over here where you see find people using spending and demographic data. We're going to use two different data sets. The first one is we're going to find the areas that they spend the most eating out. We're going to click right here where you see select an attribute. All right, and we're pretty much going to live in this section for now, which is what they buy. Okay, so again, what they buy, I'm going to specify in this middle section as very specific spending habit. So we have the total expenditures in retail goods, alcoholic beverages, apparel, dining out, education. These are annual figures. I want to make sure I mention these are annual figures, not daily figures. These are annual figures per household, how much they spend annually. Entertainment, recreation, financial services, food, healthcare, household goods, household services, housing, how much they spend on their phone, miscellaneous expenses, personal care, transportation, and travel expenses. All right, perfect. So what we're going to do is use dining out for this demo. I'm going to click on dining out. And we can hyper focus on different types of restaurant ownership. We have dining out at restaurants for breakfast, snacks, dinner, and for lunch. All dining out at restaurants or just all dining out in general, regardless of what time they open. So we're just going to go ahead and select all dining out. I'm going to click on OK. That's my first set of data that I want to look up. And then, as I mentioned, I want to find the areas where they have the highest amount of disposable income. Because as I mentioned, a lot of folks, guys, everyone's kind of going into their phones to buy, retail goods. They're going into their phones to, order out now. So I want to find the areas where they have the highest amount of disposable income. This is my opinion. I personally do not use, a delivery service unless I have just, that extra set of cash. So I'm going to go over here where you see select an attribute. Perfect, perfect. From this one, what we're going to go and do is we're going to say who they are. However, I want to cover real quick what they do. That's going to be their trade directly. We're going to use who they are. I'm going to go here into the middle section. How much they have that they bring in, I should say, based on household size, income, net worth, personal finances, education levels, as well as race, age, gender, and then their consumer segmentation. So this consumer segmentation, it's data that comes directly from Esri. It's going to give me and I'm going to show you what this is in a little bit. Segmentation just simply means demographical ownership based on age group and or habits on how they like to buy properties within a given area. Okay, so this one we're going to use income. The average disposable income. There you go. Average disposable income. All right, and then from there, I'm going to click on OK. If I want to add more data, I can click on add more criteria if I want to add more data overlays. But we're just going to stick with the spending habits on dining out and disposable income. I'm going to click on run analysis. Now, once the map loads, it's going to show me in the darker purple the areas where they spend the absolute most on spending habits. The medium purple is going to give me the better areas, and then the gray areas to the white sections is going to be the areas where they either don't have data or there's just not enough a supply of information for them to work off of. Now, as I mentioned, the system is automatically designed to give us the areas where they have for example, the highest amount that they spend dining out, and then the areas where they have the highest disposable income. But if I switch these bars the opposite direction, it's going to show me the areas where they have the lower spending habits. And for this example, the area where they have the lower amount of disposable income. And I can look at the neighborhoods or areas based on census block groups, minor neighborhoods, or intermediate neighborhoods. All right, my personal favorite, because it will show me the name of communities or buildings, is if I click on minor neighborhoods. Let's see. If for this little circle, it didn't necessarily do that for this little quadrant. Intermediate neighborhoods might be. This is what I meant by play with the system. It's based on the data that they have within that location. They have better data based on intermediate neighborhoods. Okay, so we're just going to select that real quick. Right, we're going to move down. All right, perfect, perfect. And then right here, it's going to break down, again, annual figures. How much, if for example, if they have it based on the community's name or based on the name of the building, they'll show up here. So we have based on Driftwood in Hollywood, annually they spend about $3,780 eating out. Their average disposable income is $82,987. But my goal is to find the areas where they spend the most. So I can either do that using the map. It's going to be these areas right here, which are better. Darker areas are going to be the best locations. All right. Now, I'm interested in seeing if I could beat that 5,000. Okay. I can't. All right. So it looks like Flamingo Estates. I'm going to go ahead and give that a check mark. That's going to allow me to do is isolate that area on my map. If I'm not familiar with where it's at, it's going to highlight it here. And it's letting me know that their annual expenses eating out 5,000, average disposable income is 113,715. What I could do with this, there's two different things I could do with this. As I mentioned, I can just simply search within this area and see if there's any commercial listings, be that a commercial restaurant where they're selling the structure. Maybe I can find where they're selling the name of the restaurant business, or I can find maybe a piece of land that's available where we can build a commercial restaurant there by clicking on search for listings. All right, now I'm going to click on it. It's not likely we're going to find anything that's very, very hyper focused on a very small area. All right, what we can do though is, I did that on purpose because you have the ability now to search within that area. So if I want to draw, right, freehand, I can draw and say, hey, now that I know this area, is there any restaurants available for sale within that area? I can click on search area. It's going to provide me immediately, because I know it's over here. I can see if there's any restaurants available for sale or for lease within this section. Now, the listings that appear, I want to make sure I mention the listings that appear here. Again, blue means for sale, yellow means leases. These are based on what I have selected under my more filters based on the property types that I selected. Again, I'm showing you this because RPR will absolutely remember what you did last time you used it. So if you maybe were doing an office space, right? You were looking for an office between 14,000 based on the lot size up to 20,000. It's going to remember what you typed in. So make sure that you click on reset. That's going to allow you to start over. And then if you added anything further down, it's not going to stop that search from happening. So I'm going to go ahead and click on update and search. Actually, no, let's go back. We're going to go ahead and turn off for lease. We're going to keep active. We're going to turn off active under contract pending. I'm going to say, hey, find me land available for sale. And let's also try to find if there's any restaurants and bars in this location. I'm going to click on update search. We're going to be very patient. There we go. And you can look at the listings from the map perspective, which is the icon here. This is going to allow you to click on them, see what's available. or you have a photo grid view. It's going to give you a little bit more insight, including a larger image of what's being sold. Or you have a traditional grid where we have access to that little new icon. And this is where we get to tell the system what we consider to be a brand new listing when we see that little dude tag right here. All right, perfect. Okay, so what we're going to go and do is let's narrow this down a little bit. Let's just switch it to restaurant bar, update and search. All right, we do have one within the area that we selected, priced at 499,000. Let's click on, 404 error. Let's click on it again. Okay, whoops, let me go over here. Okay, looks like RPR, it's having a little bit of some issues there. Let me try to click on the address sometimes. Okay, they're just having issues right now. Okay, we try to refresh it. I'm hoping they're not having issues, but normally 99.9% of the time when I click on that, that's going to take me directly into what's for sale. But let's go ahead and do two things. Let's go ahead and save this. Once it comes back later, I'm going to click on this little heart here on the right side. This is going to save the property, not the search. It's going to save the property. If I want to save the search, meaning all of the filters I just typed in, I go here where you see these save search above. So we're going to go ahead and save this property for we'll put John Smith. Click on save, and then that's going to add it here under my work, where I can pull it up later under my save properties. If I want to save time, maybe I'm doing this search for an investor. I already created that map overlay, the area that I've selected, and the filters that I've entered. If I want to save all of this, including the location, I go right here where I see this little save icon. That's going to allow me to save this search. I'm going to say to search business. Just going to keep it basic. All right. And then click on save from there. All right. So again, it saves here under the My Work, or the next time that you sign into the commercial RPR system, you're going to find anything that you've saved further down here under the My Properties section. Okay, so that was a quick little rundown, guys, of the commercial site selection tool. There's a lot of other different segmentation that we get out of that platform. So do me a favor, do make sure that come in here. And then this is provided for free. There's other programs such as Remind. We do offer Remind as your member benefit. You do have the ability to upgrade to the commercial site selection using Moody's Analytics. It's included here for free. So make sure that you come into the RPR system in order to have access to Moody's Analytics, the commercial site selection search. All right, perfect. Okay, so we're going to keep going, guys. The next thing that I want to show you is the trade area report. All right, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to cover this from two different perspectives. We're going to say that we have we want to create a report for an investor that already have an office space. We're going to word it like this. They have an office space that they want to see if they can rezone it to apartments in specific. So we're going to create a trade area report using the system, and then we're going to add that trade area report. We're going to combine it with the commercial script writer. So I want to make sure that I capture your mind. The next two things that we're going to cover is, again, the trade area report. The trade area report goes hand in hand with the commercial script writer. Should you want to convince maybe an investor, maybe city planners, to see if they would be okay with rezoning an office space directly into apartment spaces, we're going to do that now. And the other side of that trade area report, as I mentioned, it's going to show me the different types of home ownership based on age. And it's also going to let me see the areas that have the highest amount of traffic. So we're going to go here under location. We're doing two things at once, so I didn't mean to overwhelm that there. We're going to kind of combine two different things. We're going to do that trade area report first. So we're going to go here. We're going to say we have an investor that's interested in the Doral area. So I'm going to type out Doral, and then I'm going to click directly on the Doral, Florida option. Now, this trade area report, you can create it either once you select a property, or you can create it by opening up the reports option and then jumping directly into the trade area report located right here. All right. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just simply pull up this property. All right, perfect. And then if you ever want to create a trade area report for this area, meaning this specific zip code, you can go right here under trade area, or as I mentioned, under reports, you can go to trade area report, and then it's going to ask you to enter the area that you want to create the report for. So this trade area report's not just for commercial agents. I see a lot of good uses for residential members as well. This is going to include, again, this comes directly from Esri. They provide us with the demographical homeowners that live there or renters that live in the area. It's going to give me the median household income for, again, the zip code, not all of Doral, but specifically zip code 33178, the household income for the homes in the middle of the market, the median age, the total population, and the number one group there that's dominating that area, which is the group by the name of up and coming families. So again, Esri is the one that comes up with the names of the groups of homeowners that live within the area. Now, further down, we get the demographic facts and stats for Doral, including the population, age, the folks that are married, income analysis, education levels, economy, how they commute to work, as well as the estimated home values of properties, including a fluctuation and change in the area. Doral has gone up by 7.14% going back a year. Miami-Dade has also gone up as a whole by 6.37%. Florida as a whole has gone up by only 0.78%. All right, now all of these sections that I'm showing you now, they're built in to the trade area report that you can create within the system. If you want to grab just a small segment of it, you can do a little screenshot and then select anything that is applicable here. We also have the information coming directly from the consumer segmentation. Again, that consumer segmentation just means the demographical groups that live there. All right. The suburban periphery, the most populous and fastest growing among urbanization groups. Suburban periphery includes 1/3 of the nation's population. All right. And again, we get the breakdown. I'm just showing you an alternative way to look at the information should you not want to create the report. It's going to show me the number one group there that makes up households within the 33178 area. It's going to be the up and coming families group. They make up 32.1% of homeowners in Doral. Totally, they make up 8,946 homes. Their lifestyle is sprouting explorers. Their urbanization group is suburban periphery. Residence type is single family. If you need more information on what they mean by, because it is confusing, what does up and coming families mean? What you want to do is create the trade area report. Should you get that next question from your customer, within that trade area report, it's going to tell us with greater detail what they mean by, again, up and coming families, boom burbs, Metro Fusion, the elders, etc. Okay, so we're going to go and do that now. All right. I'm going to click on create report. All right, perfect. And then we have a couple of things that are new. I do want to make sure I mention that you now have the ability when you create any report, be that residential or commercial, you can actually create a template, meaning what pages you want to be included within that report, including additional attachments, maybe that you've created outside of the RPR system using the trade area template. And you have access to all templates that are available for residential and commercial, or templates that you've created here under all templates. All right, we're going to go just for this demo. I'm going to click on create legacy report. We're just going to look at the classic version because even with the classic version, which is approximately 18 pages, you still have the ability, if you click on customize, you can still tell the system, hey, I'm creating this report for maybe an investor that wants to open up an office space or a restaurant. They don't necessarily need to know about the population comparison or the age comparison in that area or the marital status, economic comparison, education. Any of these buttons, any of these can be turned off, as you can see. The main purpose of the new beta access that we have is we have the ability to include additional marketing pieces that maybe our broker requires when we create reports. So I'm just going to turn these off real quick. Just going to keep on the trade area summary, trade areas breakdown of the segmentation and segment details. And then from there, if I scroll down, I can tell the system how I want to deliver the report or download the report. If I want to email it, I can include the recipient's name. I just type it there. I compose the email of who I'm sending it to. If I want to download it and then send it from my professional email, meaning I don't want to use the RPR system to send it, I can click on display. Now that's going to download it as a PDF. Or if I want to email it to multiple email addresses, I enter those right here. I'm just going to click on display so we can download it. All right. And we're going to give it just a moment. Okay, perfect. All right. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go right back into the subject property that we used, because under the trade area section, again, you can get here one more time. You can get here by pulling up any property for sale or for lease within the zip code that you're looking up. All right. I'm going to go ahead and close this for now. I'm going to download it. We're going to look at that in just a moment. All right. The next thing I want to make sure I mention is the other way to get into the trade area report, to create one for the areas that you service, is by going to reports and then clicking on trade area report. That's going to allow you to start all over. You would just go here to enter the zip code, city or state, or even neighborhood that you want to create the report for. So we're going to jump into that report in just a moment. All right. So the next thing that we're going to cover is going to be the commercial script writer, guys. If you have a hard time, and I say this respectfully, if you have a hard time trying to figure out what to say to an investor to try to have them sign that exclusive buyer's agreement or listing agreement, maybe you are trying to have city planners, you're reaching out to city planners to see if they can rezone a property or allow a rezoning, we can create a script. And then what I would do is I would create the script on what to say, or a report on what to say, and then I would include the trade area report along with it. All right, now before we look at that trade area report, what we want to make sure that we do, should we want to provide that trade area report for a customer, what we want to do is have talking points on hand as we go over that trade area report. So we have this little button here that says create script. Now that script that we can create can include a full presentation or talking points that we can go over if we decide to have the trade area report maybe on a projector. So I'm going to click right here where you see create script. And for this example, what we're going to do is focus on a office space that needs to be rezoned specifically for residential. So we have this section here where you see choose audience. We can select business owner / tenant, city planners, developers, investors, as well as retailers. All right, for this one, we're going to click on city planners, and we have a couple of different options under tone. When we create this script, we do have professional available, conservative, engaging, and conversational. Now, the option that is not available under the residential scriptwriter is conservative. Conservative is going to allow me to just cover the talking points for that customer. So we're going to include under data the primary segment. Again, that's going to include demographical information on who lives there, including the house of homes in the middle of the market. We're also going to look at housing as well as income. Now, when we create this script, we can create a one-page summary, a full detailed report, or a overall presentation outline. I love the presentation outline. I could just look at the talking points that I want to discuss as I have the trade area report maybe on a screen, or if I need the full detailed report, I can click on this little section right here. So for this demonstration, we are going to click on detailed report so that we could try to convince the city to rezone these offices for residential. That detailed report will include the audience that we created the script for, our information including our brokerage and email address, the subject, and then from here we have a script that we can use. Dear esteemed members of the City Planning Committee, in accordance with the request for a detailed examination of Miami, Florida 33178 commercial trade area, I have compiled a report that encapsulates the socioeconomic tapestry, income metrics, and housing dynamics of the area. This analysis aims to provide insights that can inform strategic decision making for future development and economic growth within the region. Again, under primary segment, If I do click this, it will include the demographics and lifestyle. That's going to include the top segment that lives there, how much they make up of the population there, the median age, income analysis. And then this is the part that I wanted to focus on, which is housing market. This is where I can convey directly to the city planners. For this example, how many homes are used for rent. The housing market presents a nearly balanced distribution between home ownership at 50.6% and rental properties being roughly around 49.4%. So this is a top area. We do have a lot of renters. So this would be great for that office space to be rezoned specifically for residential. This equilibrium provides a diverse range of residential options catering to different lifestyle needs and stages, potentially attracting both families looking to settle and individuals seeking flexibility through renting. The median estimated home value in the area stands at 580,900, with a positive trajectory seeing a growth of 7.1%. This will also include a summary that we can include at the end of our presentation, which I find to be absolutely amazing. So again, this is AI. So if you don't like the very first thing that it generates, you can simply click on detailed report again, or change your audience or tonality, and then what that will do is create another script. Next, what we're going to go ahead and cover is that trade area report that goes hand in hand with this commercial script writer. So we're going to go through real quick that report. All right. I already have it open. There you go. All right. So it's going to include the location. Let me move down real quick. There you go. It's going to include our information as long as we add it. So, and again, we have that top group there that makes up 32.1% of homeowners. We get their average household size, their age, their diversity index, their median household income, median net worth. Let me scroll down. How much of this group occupies and owns the property? The second group, which is the boom burbs. We have the next group, which is likely going to be younger. Metro Fusion, what is their median age? It's a little bit less at 30. They're look like they're more renters. The 26.9% of the Metro Fusion group have homes that they own. Looks like there are a great amount of renters there within that demographic. And if you need more information on what they mean by Metro Fusion, right? What's a boom burb? What's the elders? What's the professional pride? If you scroll down within the report, it's going to give you a better understanding. So it's going to say, hey, that up and coming families, who are they? Up and coming families is a market in transition. Residents are younger and more mobile than the previous generation. They're ambitious, working hard to get ahead, and willing to take some risks to achieve their goals. All right. The recession has impacted their financial well-being, but they are optimistic. All right. Their neighborhood, new suburban periphery, new families in new housing subdivisions. Building began in the housing boom of the 2000s and continues in the fast growing market. All right. This is what's cool. I get to see what type of properties they're interested in. Single family homes with a median value of 194,400 and a lower vacancy rate. All right. I get also socioeconomic traits as well. All right. We get a breakdown of the boom burbs, Metro Fusion, the elders, the professional pride group, and a trade area report. This is going to break down looking at Doral versus the Miami-Dade County in comparison to Florida. All right, this is going to give me the total population, again, as of 2023 in the blue line, and then orange line is going to be the projected growth, which we look like we're going down according to the U.S. Census of America. And we're kind of stagnating. This is an indication that we need to build more homes, it seems like. All right, further down, we have the population density as well. All right, so right here we have, again, 2023 is the dark blue line. 2020, it's going to be the projected. So we have the population density, 6,000. We're going to go up a little bit according to the data as of 2028. Population change since 2020. And then the total daytime population as well. All right, perfect. We need to fit in that evaluate report, so we're going to speed up a little bit. We have the daytime population density, average household size, population living in family households. All right. We also get female to male ratios, again, comparing Doral to Miami-Dade. into Florida. All right. This is where I want to slow down, which is the traffic counts. Okay, so this is going to be the top 5 on page 1. It's going to be the top intersections that have the highest amount of traffic. All right, the next page rather is requires for you to include in your report. Let me go down real quick. The traffic counts option and then the about RPR in our data. This is going to allow you to get a full breakdown of all of the streets, not just the top 5, but the addition up to 20. So let me move up real quick. It's letting me know the number 1 area. It's kind of compacted. I can't see the number 1 area right off the bat, but I get this cross section. It's letting me know based on 2024's established data that the number 1 area is going to be the Palmetto Expressway and then Milam Dairy Road. Second one's going to be express lanes. Fourth one's going to be where we have good data. Express lanes Northwest 31st Street. And then we have number 4, Palmetto Expressway cross section Northwest 14th Street. Again, this is a great set of information so that I know the areas that have the highest amount of traffic. I want to make sure I mention that one more time. These are going to be the areas that have the highest amount of traffic generally. But once we get into, want to make sure I explain these maps. Once we get into a orange to a green, not green, orange or a lighter yellow, I should say, those are going to be the areas that have lower amount of traffic. Okay. All right. I think I got a question. Let me jump into chat real quick. Okay. I think I answered that one. Let me double check. Okay, I did. All right, perfect. Okay, so the final thing, guys, the final thing that we're going to jump into real quick is a system that sometimes you have to pay for that's included absolutely free as a member benefit. We're going to jump into the Valuate system. What we're going to do is we're going to look at it from a mechanical perspective. We're going to figure out the return on investment on multifamily units during a 10-year hold. Now, this report that I'm going to show you, it goes hand in hand with classes that you can take with Josh Cadillac. Man, that name sells itself. Josh Cadillac has a fantastic series called the ACE series, where he goes into a dissection on a return on investment using multifamily properties. So he gets into the science into working with investors classes. We do go over it from a mechanical perspective, but we do give you guys some additional information as well on how to run the report. All right. What I'm going to go ahead and do is this is a unit that is available specifically in the Hollywood, Florida area, 33020. It is currently 11 multifamily units that are available. We're going to use this as that valuation subject. Okay. All right. I think I got another question. Let me jump into chat real quick. Okay, you got it, Luciana. All right, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put that listing number right here. All right, perfect. I'm going to go ahead and click on return. All right, and then that's going to put me right into the property record where I can create that return on investment report for a 10-year hold or a flip. So as I mentioned, we can run multiple reports using the Valuate system. All right, so again, these are going to be specifically 11 units priced at $2,985,000. All right, first thing, just a little sample of the working with investor class. Just a little sample, guys. Just a little bit of something to keep in mind. If you're working directly with an investor, when it comes to multifamily, we want to understand that area. Why do I say that? Large investors, bulk buyers, they're out of state or out of the country. We're going to be the feet on the ground. So what we would want to do is understand that area. What they're likely going to want to do is purchase these units, especially if they're going to do a 10-year long hold. They want to potentially increase the amount that they can charge for rent, including redeveloping these units. Okay, so the first thing you want to do when you're working with an investor that says, hey, I want to maximize my gains, and I don't mean tax gains, I mean my gains as I hold on to the unit, you want to make sure that you first understand the area. So we do have in Matrix this little view map button. Also in the RPR system, we have the map location button as well. That's going to show you exactly where that unit's located. That's one way to look at it. Or you also have the street view as well. It's going to show you what those units look like according to Google. And then what you want to do is if an investor wants to buy, and I'm not just bringing this up for multifamily, but also for single family homes, if an investor wants to purchase these units, again, they want to maximize the amount that they could potentially charge for rent, right? So what we may want to do is see if there's anything in the area that might stop us from being able to justify a high amount for rent. For example, an industrial warehouse right across the street, or a factory, right? Or a train station that could impact the amount that we could potentially get out of the rent. These are just little things to keep in mind. This does look like a very strong residential area. I'm going to keep going out real quick just to scan it, just to see if there's anything there. Okay, it looks all right to me. I don't see anything too loud. I'm going to go up the block. All right. Okay, yeah, it looks like a very strong residential area, but if you're ever in Matrix and you're doing this for residential, again, you do have that little view map button for my Matrix users. Just want to show this real quick. This one requires a separate step. There's the little, as I call him, the Google guy. Sometimes he doesn't want to move, so just be patient with him. And then you could drag him once he cooperates right in front of the property as well. You could do this in Google Maps, and that's going to show you that unit. And then you can also this way find what's going on as far as from the environment perspective. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we're gonna keep going, guys. We're gonna go ahead and use the Valuate system to figure out the return on investment for these units. All right. Again, the unit doesn't have to be listed. You can do this for off-market properties as well. All right, and you get up to 5 reports for free. If you want to keep it free where you don't have to pay for it, you just have to delete any old report that you're no longer using. So we're going to go right here where you see additional resources, and I'm going to click on Valuate. All right, I think I got 2 questions. Let me jump into chat real quick. All right, Sharif, can you please show how to get into commercial resources section again? All right, okay. Do you mean how I search for this listing? I went right here. And that's the listing number. It's A as in Alpha 11619108. Okay, perfect. So we're going to click on Valuate, and then I'm going to click on Continue. All right, but let me go back real quick. There was one thing I wanted to show real quick. There's different types of reports, again, for free. Most other providers, they charge for this. We can do the long-term hold, which is what we're going to do. We have the multifamily unit mix. Maybe there's some 1-1s within the report we create, maybe some 2-2s, 3-2s, etc. And we have the residential flip analysis. If you guys can do this report that we're doing today, the long-term hold, you can do the flip in your sleep. That's going to allow you to include renovation costs as well as figuring out the return on investment if it's purchased using cash or a loan, and land development analysis as well. All right, so we're going to go right here on the right where you see analyze a property's investment potential. I'm going to click on continue. All right. And then you'll get this message. I want to make sure I mention, you will get this message right here in the event you've run out of reports. So you would essentially just want to remove any previous report that you're no longer using. And if you have a Mac like me, sometimes you have to do it a couple of times. All right. Okay, perfect. So I just deleted any of the old ones I had. Oh, Okay, Sharif, I got you, Sharif. Okay. For that, what you would want to do is go to, and I'm going to put this in the chat, don't worry. miamirealtors.com/trainers. You're going to see all three of us, including an ancient photo of me of like from 10 years ago. You're going to go right here where you see in-depth tech series. So earlier I put the commercial resource guide in the chat. I'm also going to put the tech training catalog here. This is going to allow you to see all of our latest and greatest classes. I mean, everything. Connie and Christie's social media classes that they do amazing at. The working with investor series. All of our matrix classes. Any product that we offer. You want to make sure that you come here. Of course, go to our YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/Miami trainers. Go to youtube.com/Miami trainers. Subscribe. I would also ask that you go here because this is constantly updated with the latest versions of the videos. YouTube, I love YouTube, but YouTube it can be hard to find what you want, and 9 times out of 10 you find older videos. Come here, you're going to see the latest and greatest. So for commercial, we have it right here, the commercial tech series, including today's commercial RPR. Let me just drag this down a little bit. Right here, RPR commercial, located right there. All right. Okay, so we're going to keep going. We're going to jump into the valuation report that we're creating. I'm glad that it did this because this will affect your report. We're running a report on 11 multifamily units. So sometimes if there's multiple folios included within that transaction, meaning multiple lots where multifamily units are being sold, it may not classify it correctly. It may put it as other. So just change that because it's gonna mess up the report. So go right here where you see multifamily. That's how you fix it. Okay, perfect. So let me go ahead and drag this over real quick. We're gonna go back into the report. So we have the property, the name of the address of the property, also known as the property name. We have the scenario name. Under scenario name, what I would do is input the name of the investor that I'm creating the report for. So I'm going to call this let's call it the Michael Jordan investment properties. All right. We also get the square footage. Now, I want to say these units are, yeah, this is what I meant by multifolios, guys. There's 11 units that's for sale. We're only coming back with 2. That's why it created that glitch. So let me go ahead and update that. We also have the square footage. I'm pretty sure that's just going to be for the 2 units that they're selling. Oh no, that's in total. Okay. We also have the income, meaning how much they're bringing in. So if you're creating this report for an investor and you do have access to how much the current owner is bringing in based on any sources of income, not just how much they're bringing in for rent. For example, maybe they're charging for the laundry facilities, any source of income, you would put that here under the TTM gross potential rent. Now, I did select this property on purpose because we do have access to, under the financial information section, I get access to the gross operating income, how much they're bringing in before losses, including vacancy loss, including any type of expenses. That's going to give me direct access to their net operating income. Now, here sometimes the agent will be nice enough to exactly explain what they mean by expenses. For example, are they including vacancy loss? Are they including utility expenses, service expenses? If we don't see those items included, it's kind of we just have to make a little bit of some assumptions there unless the agent clarifies, or we may have in the top, if we're using matrix, this is not something in RPR. RPR does not receive attachments. So if I go directly into the matrix system, that's going to give me access to the overall plans. It looks like the site plans directly that were sent to the city. Yeah, right here, site plan and floor plan. Or I may have access to the cash flow and financial report as well. Now, this might be where we can see what they consider as losses. So they're fully, it looks, yeah, fully 100% occupied. They have 0 vacancy loss. They are letting us know. Let's go down real quick. We do get the tax amount. We do have that. Their current established cap rate, which is 6.66%. All right, which if you guys don't know how to calculate cap rates, let's make sure that we do explain that. Now, this was originally listed though at 3,155,000. It does look like it has been dropped down to 2,985,000 for these 11 units. If you don't know how to calculate a cap rate, I just want to cover that real quick, just some basic stuff. What that's going to be is the once we scroll down, it's going to be the net operating income, meaning how much they're bringing in after expenses divided by the asking price, which should be a little bit higher than 6.6%. So what we're going to do within this report, it's going to let me know during the 10-year hold, our entry cap rate at the time we purchase and that exit cap rate at year 10 once we sell the properties, sell the units. Okay, so we have the purchase price right here. Now, what I want to make sure I mention when it comes to the purchase price, again, from a mechanicals perspective, I want to make sure I mention that this is customizable. So, for example, you have your buyer instead offers 2.8 instead of 2.9. You can come here under purchase price and then modify that. We also changed the amount of units. It was only coming back with two. There is 11. There's multi-folios included within the sale projection. We're going to go over here to gross potential rent. This is where I can include their GSI, meaning how much they're bringing in before expenses. So also known as their gross operating income. So that's going to be the 284,000 right here, 284,000. I'm going to click on enter. I can include any expenses and reserves. All right, we're just going to put in expenses. There is another section. I want to make sure I mention when it comes to reserves. Sometimes you may have a buyer that wants to set aside money later on, meaning they're going to purchase now, redevelop after the initial first year. There's another section that I'm going to show you guys under purchase and sale where you can itemize that. All right, so we're going to enter the current established amount that they have for expenses, which was better explained to the attachment. All right, 74,000. All right. However, they're not mentioning if that includes management expenses over the units. So another thing to keep in mind when it comes to expenses is if the investor or yourself is not going to, the easiest way to say this is oversee the units, meaning you yourself or your investor themselves are not going to manage the units. You may want to possibly take 3% off of the asking price for someone to manage the units yearly. I want to make sure I mention that. Okay, perfect. So we're going to go back. We're going to ballpark it there at the expenses at 74,000. Now, right here, most calculation systems, they're going to automatically put in a 3%. The system is expecting you to bump the rental prices yearly by 3%. But not all multifamily units are the same. Sometimes, especially when it comes to multifamily units, sometimes we have units that are, month by month, meaning they're being rented out month by month, or maybe they are at a fixed price and it's not set to go up. You can technically remove this calculation. But we're going to leave it for now. The RPR system does recommend including the 3% jump in rental prices. All right, we're going to move down to fiscal year one begins. This is going to be at what point the investor is going to purchase the units. We're going to say February the 1st of 2025. And our holding period, we're going to use the 10-year option, but we can go as far down as 2-year hold. All right, the next one is loan to value. We're going to do a 50% cash down to 50% loan just for this little demographic. Not going to be a 5. The interest rate, we did put a lot down. Let's compensate though a little bit. We're going to put it at 8.5 just to include some things in my mind. Enter. There you go. All right. And then the number of equity players, this is going to include how many investors are going to purchase the unit. We can select one or two. I'm going to say that we have one investor, and then I'm going to click on submit. All right. Perfect. Perfect. I think I got a question. All right. Okay. So I do not want to even discuss this yet. We're not going to discuss the home option yet because I don't want to confuse anyone. This is the absolute best case scenario. What we have to do so that this report functions correctly and actually spits out the right data, I need to go here where you see purchase and sale. So we're going to go to purchase and sale. All right, perfect, perfect. Because we need to itemize once we purchase the property, we do have to incorporate closing costs, capital reserve escrow, meaning if we're going to set aside money that first year to maybe redevelop the units that second year, we're going to also enter an amount towards the debt broker fee as well, recording fees and miscellaneous, and as well as transfer tax. Okay, so we're going to come up here to closing costs. All right, that should be around, and we're going to go up to 5. We're going to put in 145,000 as the closing costs, and we're going to set aside money to redevelop the units. That next year, we're going to replace TVs. We're going to add some state-of-the-art LED TVs. We're going to do redo some of the kitchen cabinetry. This is again kind of a fantasy scenario. We're going to go ahead and say we're going to set aside. It's 11 units. Let's do 90,000. 90,000. I'm going to click on enter. And as you can see, guys, once I enter values, our unlevered, meaning how much we bring in using cash, or if we do decide to purchase using a loan, how much we're going to have at year 10. So it's letting me know so far based on what I'm calculating in. We're going in at 2,985,000. It's letting me know here. Once we get to closing on the property, we should have, based on how much we're bringing for rent or any other source of income, at year 10, we should have unlevered means without a loan, 2,625,145. If we do decide to purchase using a loan, which I can refinance, this report will allow me to refinance under sources of funds. It's letting me know we're bringing in, of course, with that paying back the loan, 1.3 million. We also get the internal return rate percentage, the equity multiplier, and then the average cash on cash as well. Now, what we're going to go and do is, as I mentioned, we're going to continue to enter information. So we're going to go here under equity debt broker fee. We're going to put 6%. All right. Our recording fees, 1%. Transfer tax, same thing, 1%. All right, perfect. And then that's going to give me a better understanding of how much we're going to bring in if we purchased using cash and then using a loan. All right. I think I got a question. Let me jump into chat real quick. Oh yeah, Sylvia, it's awesome. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, guys, as I mentioned, these numbers are once we exit at year 10. What I like about source of funds is if I want to, modify that interest rate, maybe we get approved for a different, we have a different loan, different lender. I can go under source of funds. I can modify anything I've put in so far, including the purchase price, as well as the interest rate located here. It's going to change the cap rate by default. All right. And further down, I don't have a crystal ball, guys. Things are looking good so far. Things are looking good. But if we want to, within the report, include an update on how much we're going to bring in using a loan if we refinance further down the road, I can include that within the report. So I'm going to say, hey, after year 5, yeah, we'll put it at month 60. We can try to project an option for refinancing. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't think any of us do. I'm going to just change that real quick to interest rate there at 6.5. That's going to change my levered, how much I'm going to bring back. If I do decide to refinance after 5 years, how much we're going to bring back at that time. All right. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so we're almost done. It's a lot to cover. Okay, so that's the source of funds. A quick little breakdown of that. We have the purchase sale where we have to itemize. So again, compensation, closing costs, etc. All right, the next one that we're going to jump into real quick is cash flow. That I did not put in a renovation budget. I put that under capital reserve escrow. So if you remember real quick, when we first originally when we first originally created the report, when we were filling out the report, we had the ability to enter a renovation budget. If I did put anything here, it's going to ask me under cash flow to itemize at what point we're going to make those renovations. Now I'm going to go to cash flow real quick. All right, what this is going to allow me to do is again change when the buyer is going to purchase. I can also include any assessment management fees as well, including a percentage. I can modify, for example, my investor says, "Hey, it's not going to be a 10-year hold. Recalculate for example, 8 years." I can modify that on the go, and I can also calculate for increase during vacancy if I do redevelop the units, including renovation, including the percentage of how much that would increase it, how much how much I'm going to add towards the rent. For example, if I add a new TV or I'd redo the kitchen, maybe we're increasing the rent by $100. This report will also, for the investor, include the option when the units are going to be renovated. So under renovation details, I can include what months after they're vacated, when we're going to do redevelopment on the units, when we're going to start, how long they're going to be down within this report. All right, there you go. Whoops. I'm going to go ahead and put in, for example, 2 months, when it's going to end, the average duration. We can modify that as well. The average budget per unit, meaning how we could set aside money within the report on how much we're setting aside per unit for the modifications and upgrades. The savings on utilities, maybe we're switching to more eco-friendly things within the unit, repairs and maintenance as well, and the how much that's going to change. All right, okay. Gross rental deductions. This will allow you to include within the report if there's any vacancy losses, loss to lease, if there's any concessions on new leases. New leases usually do go at a lower price. Write-offs. Further down within this report under cash flow, we can also itemize income as well, including parking fees, late fees, termination fees, other laundry, application, cable, retail. We can even itemize specifically expenses. We could break down the utilities, payroll, general administrative turnover costs, repairs. Now I did a bulk drop. I dropped all of our expenses into the miscellaneous section, but again, you have the ability to itemize those expenses here. All right, further down, not too much to do here, but under annual view or monthly view, that's going to allow you to see from the annual perspective, if I move down, how much we're going to see, again, based on that 3% increase in the rental prices, how much we're going to bring in each year using purchasing using cash. And then further down right there, using a loan as well. All right, guys, that's a quick little rundown of the cash flow rent roll. We're not going to spend too much time in here, but this works great for a property manager, where we can include reminding ourselves when the units are available, the lease, the length of the lease, the current established monthly rent, if the units have been renovated, the exact address of the unit, the style of the unit, if there's any features, the square feet. And I can even, if I don't know how to work Excel, that's the whole goal of this report, I can export it to Excel and automatically have all of this data provided. Now, this again, that's the rent roll unit mix. All right. Is if we originally created a different report using unit mix, it's going to allow me to add a little bit more information per unit. But we did the rent roll. Okay. All right, we're almost done. The next one is levered analysis. As I mentioned, guys, leverage just simply means purchasing the property using a loan. So we do have further down. We're going to cover this in a moment. We have the Transaction capitalization, again, when the investor buys, we're going to put 50% cash down. The rest of it's going to be covered using a loan. And that refinance calculation that we did under source of funds, recalculating the mortgage right here at year 5. The levered analysis report, and again, all of this is we can change that if we need to, including that interest rate. We also have the equity investment, the source and uses of the funds. Again, the purchase price, how much that makes up towards the overall costs versus the acquisition costs, as well as the total use of the funds. Again, if we separate that we would do so under the cash flow. All right, that's pretty much it, guys. We're trying to make sure we get everything done on time. We're going to go to home now, and now home's going to make a little bit more sense. Okay, so we have the unlevered analysis. Once we exit, if we do decide to purchase using cash, we're going in at 2.9. We're going to end at almost 4. If we do decide to refinance at year 5, we're going to bring back 832,640. And then under unlevered, meaning without a loan, our cap rate growth, again, this is going to be that 3% bump in rental prices that we put in originally in the beginning of the report. Once we get to year 10, there we go. We're going to exit at a cap rate of roughly around 9.82% if we follow through with what we put into the report. Over here under purchase, this is going to be at the time that the investor purchases. Let me go and put in the 100% occupancy real quick. I don't have the number of spaces though. Again, this is at the time the investor purchases, their initial year 1 cap rate, their sale cap rate as well. Remember, the cap rate's going to be a little bit different, guys, because we did enter that we submitted a purchase offer 100,000 less than that we were asking. So again, it's a little bit higher. We have the time that we sell the property at year 10, the sale year net operating income, the forward year net operating income, the sale cap rate, as well as the sale year, which we can identify as either that year or the next up and coming year. All right, guys, that is it. I do want to thank you so much. The next thing I want to make sure I cover real quick is if you do want to supply that report to your customer, you have Share. Share is going to allow you to provide them with a link. I did run out of links. You do have the ability to create up to 10 links, and then you can have that investor start on the home page or on any of the additional pages located there. You can even hide the purchase price. Click on Share. That's going to provide them with a link of the report, and then they could jump in there and then take a look at it. If you want to download it as a PDF, you could do so by going to File, right here, File, and then you can click on Export. And you could export that as a PDF, Excel, or embedded code. So I'm going to click on PDF. Perfect. PDF. And this is going to include that exact same report. Again, most providers, I got to repeat this, they charge for this. All right. And let's zoom in just a little bit more. That's going to include the unlevered cash flow at the time we purchase, sale, if we do decide to purchase using a loan, and the responses. This part's primarily going to deal with if there's multiple buyers purchasing using a loan, they're split on cost. All right, guys, that is it. I do want to thank you so much for allowing me to jump into all of the amazing benefits when it comes to the commercial RPR system. Right before I let you go, Janelle asked, can you reset your links by deleting previous? Yes. Oh, no, not links. I'm sorry. Let me bring that back. Not links. I wish. Once you're out of links, you're out of links. But if you run out of property reports, you do have the ability here under Valuate. You can click on Manage. Actually, no, I stand corrected. You can. This is new. That's what it is. It's your no. Yes, Janelle. It's here. I'm so sorry. And Marga, it's right here. You go under Valuate. You can replace your shares. I forgot that they just added that a couple of months ago. So we have managed shares. You just disable the ones that no longer work, that you want to stop access to. And then under manage files, this is where you can delete any past report.